making her way to the ring from Kobe, Japan, Frost Bryce.
If you listened to After the Bell this week, you know this is a match I've wanted to see for quite some time, and it's almost time to start.
One of the top names in the entire women's division, and she plans on showing exactly why here tonight.
Hello everyone, this is Styles D83, and thank you for tuning in. I just wanted to express some concerns that I have for 2K23 since it's only a few days away, and so far what I see in the creation suite, because it's the only reason why I buy the games, is to create. But what I've noticed with the creation suite in 2K23 is that the calls look way better than they do, here in 2K22. And as you see this call, she has this dead, lifeless look. And those who have this game and who have dealt with it enough knows exactly what I'm talking about. The devs actually fixed the problem for 2K23, but that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about are 5 things, maybe even 6 if I come to it, but the 5 main things that I've noticed with 2K22's creation suite, that the first 4 that I'm going to mention holds it back tremendously, and then the 5th one kills it for me. And I've had this game since launch, and I've only created 4 calls, almost 5, but I gave up on one. The very first call I tried to create, I just gave up. But I gave it a chance and created 3 to 4 other calls, and I did decent, but it's not on par to what I wanted to do, especially in 2K19. I feel way more limited in 2K22 than I did in 2K19. So let's just get this on the road, so I don't want to hold you too long. Number 1 is whenever you apply, certain textures onto, certain textures. And I'll show you what I mean. Let's say this one right here, this texture right here, I call it a shadow texture. I use these a lot. Now right now it's on her tank top, which is set to the default material. See, I don't have very many images. I only have 5 images. And I just want to show you that I don't have a lot of things going on this profile, and that's for a reason, because if I tried, if I do some of the things that I try to do on the other profile, the game would be just so much slower, which is another issue of mine. But this tank top is set to default. So I go to material. Now, that texture to the left looks fine. No problem with it. When I go to cloth, it looks fine. But once I start scrolling down, that's where everything starts to fall apart. Look at that. It looks even worse on vinyl, metallic. It doesn't matter. Anything other than the first 2 options at the top, and everything else just looks terrible. And I use shadow textures a lot with my creations. See, it looks fine. But after that, you can hang it up. So, because of this issue, I am limited as to what I can apply that image to. I can't apply it to any vinyl, matte, or whatever that's called, a matte, satin, metallic, velour. Doesn't matter. I'm only stuck with these 2. So that was number 1. Number 2 would be there are no textures that simulate skin. And I'll show you what I mean. Here's this rectangle shape right here, and it's set to default settings. Now, once the game stops freezing on me. Okay, And you see how the skin looks? Has a little gloss to it. Looks nice. You can see the pores. Looks really nice. So now going back to this square that I made from a rectangle. I already have the color I want picked out, so that way I won't be sitting here tinkering around, wasting your time. Okay, you see that? Now it's on default, and I'll go to materials. It's on default, and it has this weird thing where when I go to materials screen, the image would morph into the, you see the lines of the shirt going through the image, but ignore that. But you see, default, it doesn't look like this skin at all. It looks more like cloth. This just has, it's a little, I guess you could say, cloth has a dull look. It doesn't have any shine to it because it's cloth. The default, I'm not even sure what it is, but this is the default is what I use to try to simulate skin, and it just doesn't do it justice. You see? But when I go to the other ones, see that? Got the skin over here. It doesn't look like skin, and then after that, and there's absolutely nothing that I could use that would give me that look of skin. So that was number 2. That holds back my creativity as well. Now let's go to number 3. And I could just stay on this image. Number 3 is highly annoying. When let's say this same shape. Now imagine if you had a bunch of images, right? And you wanted to edit them, or just morph them, change the shape or whatever. And you select it, right? Watch what happens when I click on edit. Bam. It gets rid of the setting that you had it on, the color, So let's say if you don't remember what color that is, right? And you don't have the option to, let's say, go back to color, and let's say if you kept adding new colors to the point where your previous colors overtake the original color you had, you would have to go around tinkering with this thing again to get it to where you want it to be at. Like, oh man, I don't remember what color that was, the setting. So you have to go back here every time if you don't have access to the previous colors, as I do right now. But every time you select on the image, I'll back all the way out. As soon as you click edit, it's going to get rid of that color. So imagine if you had multiple images, and every time you clicked on them and clicked edit, it would do this. So, that's another thing that can really hinder your progress. So that's another annoying thing. It's very annoying. It's unnecessary. And what was that? 3. Number 4. I think I'm on 4. I'm just going from memory, to be honest. I have no script. I'm no expert at this, recording my voice thing, but I'm trying to think. Number 4. Maybe I already did number 4, but oh, okay, I remember what number 4 was. Let's get rid of this top here. Earlier I demonstrated that I don't have very many images on this profile, and that's by design. So right here I have 4 images right here. Now, as I said before, I use a lot of images while creating. And imagine if you had 10 or more images, 30 images, and you want to organize them. Good luck with that. Now, I highlighted this image right here. It's a black image. It can be a tattoo or whatever. Now, if you want to move it, you can move it, but it limits how many spaces you can move it before it goes to another image and starts moving that instead. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. To your left, you'll see the images. Now I'm going to move it to the right. 1, so it moved. I'm going to move it again to the right. You see that? it selected a different image. I wanted to move this image. I'll move it again. Oh, see that? It's not moving the image that I want to move. It will switch to an entirely different image. Now, let's say, let me move this image. 1, 2, so far fine, but let's say when I go to the right, 1. Oh, now it's not moving that image anymore. It's moving a whole different image now. Now, as I said, imagine if you had a bunch of images and the image you want to move is way off to the left, you know, as far to the left as you can go. And I'm not talking politics, but let's say you had 30 images and you want to move this image right here all the way to the right. So that means there's 29 spaces you have to move this thing. You would have to constantly, you know, I'll move it again. Imagine where you want to move this 29 spaces, but every time you try to move it to the right 2 spaces, it will go to another image. So then you have to deselect that image and go back to this image and move it again. Oh, see that? You'll constantly wrestle with this. And this is a huge time consumer. It will constantly highlight something and move something you are not trying to move. That to me is one of the most annoying things. It's more annoying than the previous issue I had where it will reset to the default settings of the color that you picked for an image. So that's number 4. And actually, no, number 5, I'll have 6 gripes. Number 5, I can't demonstrate it because I don't have a lot of images on this profile, but those who've had this game and have acquired a lot of images, they know this all too well, where if you have a lot of images and you're going through, you know, trying to find an image to apply to the skin or whatever, you know, an outfit. Now go to the screen, custom images. Like I said, I don't have very many images, but let's say if you had 400 images and as you're scrolling down or up or whatever, you'll notice the more images you add to the game, it slows down your progress because it's loading all the images that you uploaded or downloaded. And that's another time waster. You know, I'm on the PS5. I never played this for the PS4 and I still have my PS4. But I don't know how it works out on the PS4, but for the PS5, you'd think with the SSD, it would be a lot, you know, faster than what it is. But nope. It's still a slugfest. So those who have a lot of images on their profiles and stuff, they know exactly what I'm talking about. So that was number 5. And finally, number 6, I've expressed this in another video. But number 6 is the killer for me. All the other 5 previous issues I had, they're just very annoying to me, but they're not, you know, it doesn't kill it for me. Number 6 really kills my desire to create. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about the inability to reuse group images, you know, to re-edit them. Now, what I mean by re-edit, I'm not talking about going to this screen and clicking on it, you know, let's say this image, and edit it like this. Now, you see where it says 3 out of 6 right up under this box that I have highlighted? You get up to 16 slots to add. And then once you get to the 16, that's it. You can't add anymore. Now, what I'm not going to do on this profile, because it will freeze the game up, is me adding more images and then finalizing. And I'll show you what I mean by finalizing. I'm not going to finalize the image, but I'm going to click accept. And then once I click on here, it will finalize it. Then my game will freeze. And I did that before. This is my second time recording myself. So I'm not going to make that mistake and freeze the game up and then I have to start all over again. So once I click on this, it finalizes and the game freezes and I have to reset. So I'm not going to do that. But here's my issue. I'm back all the way out of here. What I have a gripe with that kills the whole thing for me is if you see these 3 images, I already created these. But let's say if I want to add to them after, let's say this image right here already has 16 slots used. I can't add any more to this image. So there was a workaround to that in 2K19 and 18 where I could just go here, go to group images, and pick that same image and add more to it. But in 2K22, I can't do that. All the way at the bottom it says group images, and that is, I can't highlight it. I can't go to it at all. This is the killer for me because with this ability of me being able to go back to images that say, oh, you've reached the maximum capacity of 16 images, I can just go back and add to that image as if, you know, because it'll count as one image and not 16. In 2K22, I don't have the option of doing that. And if you see my other videos of like my calls and stuff, I use a lot of images. You know, the body textures, the outfits and stuff, and people ask me, well, how do you do it? Like, well, I'm able to reuse group images. I can edit them. I can add to them. I can get past that 16 image limit and add more stuff. And when I finalize it, all those images that it took to make a body texture or an outfit, it all counts as one image instead of 16 or more. So I'm able to condense so much stuff into one image and it will count as one image. In 2K22, I can't do that. Once I reach that 16 image barrier, and you know, when I finalize it, I can never edit it again as far as adding more to those 16. As you can see at the bottom of this list, I can't go to it. That is the killer for me. So I'm hoping that 2K23, the devs, fix these issues. You know, hopefully this was the number one. If they fix this, I can forgive those other ones, even though they will give me a headache. But this is the number one. I have a video where I demonstrate 2K19 and 2K22, what I'm able to do in 2K19, what I can't do in 2K22. And that's my issue with 2K22. It's a constant reminder of the limitation of what I can't do in a newer game in comparison to a game that came out in 2018. And to me it's sad. So I am hoping that they fix these issues, because if they do, I will buy the game. If they don't, I would pretty much have to feel like I'm missing out on something for me to buy the game. So those are my concerns, and I hope that, you know, those who, because I haven't pre-ordered the game, I'm waiting, but those who get a 3-day early access, you know, can you do me a favor and let me know if any of these issues are taken care of, because it's the only reason why I haven't pre-ordered the game. So hopefully somebody sees this video and they can give me a heads up on, you know, whether or not the concerns have been fixed. Thank you for tuning in and listening to me rant for however long this video has been, and I'm not going to hold you any longer. Take care, everybody, and have a nice day.